Good. Alrighty. Hello, YouTube. Hey, guys. All right, YouTube and Discord. We are good. All right, TikTok. Go live. I think we're good on TikTok already. Go live. All right. Excellent. Let me see here. TikTok, mirror your video. And where are the stickers? Where are the stickers? Where are the stickers? Hello, TikTok. I'm going to figure out where these damn stickers are, though. There they are. I was going to put up a sticker. Oh, my God, why did they make this so hard? I was going to put up a sticker that says, like, follow and subscribe or whatever, but, you know, that would just be too hard. Hey, guys, give me a second. They hide these. You know, again, if I worked for TikTok, Merry Christmas would not be one of the top stickers to give people right now in October. Like, seriously? Subscribe to me? That's not bad. I like follow and subscribe. Well, maybe I'm going to subscribe to me. It's not going to have anything better. Join me? All right. I guess we can hit subscribe. I would prefer follow and subscribe. That disappeared. That was nice. Anyway, hello, everybody. TikTok! It's like con! Oh, my God, TikTok makes everything so hard. I'm just putting up a basic sticker. That's fine. Basic sticker. Not going to deal with this. All right, text. Forget the fan club. Text. Follow and subscribe. There we go. All right. Now can I do this without pulling it out of the... There we go. Okay, good enough. Hello, everybody. Jeez. TikTok makes it so hard. Everything's so hard. Anyway, Christmas screaming goat in Discord. Yes, but God only knows where to find it. I Googled again and Amazon doesn't have it. So still looking, but yes, I did see it. It's very cool. Welcome, guys. Welcome, TikTok, YouTube, Discord. Good news. So a couple different things. We may get Senator Ruben Gallego, who's the U.S. Senator from Arizona, is going to be joining us as a guest. Maybe next week. We're trying to book it right now. I mean, he said yes, but we're trying to book when works. Based on his schedule, you know, we're going to do it whenever Ruben's free. So if he's free earlier in the day, that's when we're doing it. I told his staffer, you know, we prefer 6 because that's when we do this. But, you know, he's a senator. The other person two different people, Kathy Griffin, comedian, is going to join us. She's great, very outspoken, interesting, but she's not going to join us, for a couple weeks. She's not free until maybe 2 weeks from now. And the other person who said yes today is Ruth Ben-Ghiat. And Ruth is Ben-Ghiat, however you pronounce her last name. She's very interesting. She is an American authoritarianism expert. Very well known, very renowned, very serious meaning scholarly, smart woman. And especially nowadays, I think that would be probably a very interesting person to talk to because, you know, one of the things that worries me when people ask me, I don't have an answer when they say, what do we do? Right? What do we do about Trump? And I'm not sure because I have fought many a government before in my life as a political activist and other things. I've never had to really fight. I mean, we fought Russia once, did pretty well beating up Putin, but still, yeah, exactly. But still, like my own government, I've never had to fight an authoritarian government before, a fascist government. So that's a little weird. So having her on will be very interesting for that. So anyway, we're slowly getting there. I've got to go through more of the list. I've written several other ones, but you know, some of them haven't seen. Like Rosie just hasn't seen it. I'm not sure how to get a hold of her. Actually, I can call a friend of mine. He would know a few of them. Thank you, Annie. Appreciate that. Are we going for the Halloween goat again, Annie, or what are we going for here? Annie just got the Halloween. All right, we're starting with the Halloween, which is good. We're talking authoritarianism and fascism. Halloween goat is one of these special gifts you can get me on TikTok. It's a special wish list gift that TikTok does where you can put things up that you will do for certain gifts. And one of them is the goat. Oh, thank you for the teddy bear there. Who's that, Bowie? We'll do one more. I really like that. It's like a whole Wednesday Addams kind of look. Very cool. Anyway, so there we go. Why is there a thing sticking out of the bottom? Oh, maybe. That's the pumpkin. That's the pumpkin. I was like, what the hell is that? It's the pumpkin. The pumpkin top. It was loud. Yeah. Well, I got a good microphone. Anyway, so welcome, folks. I'm John Aravosis. This is my show. We talk about the latest news from the U.S., also Ukraine. I wasn't thinking there's a ton of news today. There isn't, but nonetheless, we've got news. So we'll go through it. Sometimes the news goes longer than I expect anyway. I've got to do a hard stop at 7 o'clock for a Blucha. Although Frau Blucha might work better with this one. Frau Blucha. It probably does work better with this one because it's quick. Blucha. If you don't know the movie, you're missing out. You are missing out. Eric, I will not get to the point about the news already. If you're not liking it, you are free to leave. This is how the show's been done for the last 4 years. It ain't changing. So not because you're being ornery and rude. So, and by the way, it's free. So you've got even less room to complain. All right. So Coffee Talk, Saturday and Sunday, we do our Coffee Talk hangout for subscribers, the monthly subscribers. That's TikTok, YouTube, Discord. So come join us on Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, as my thank you to you guys. And I think that's it. Yeah, so a number of weird stories today, as always. Trump declared war. That was sort of interesting. God. I mean, he literally declared war today against the drug traffickers, but he declared war. He officially declared war. This is classic Trump. And I mean, literally, you're dealing with someone who's not all there. I guarantee you, what Trump does not have the power to declare war on anyone. Literally, under the United States Constitution, he has no power to declare war. None. You know, we are going. What are you, a Trumper? Bye, Eric. All right. He has no power to declare war. Presidents can't do that. They can't declare war. It doesn't work that way. He declared war on the drug traffickers and notified Congress of his declaration of war. Literally, this is where the lawlessness comes from. Eric has left the building. This is where the lawlessness comes from. Is Trump just sits there and says, I want to declare war. And his staff, I guarantee you, the legal staff goes, Mr. President, you don't have the legal authority to declare war as president. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to issue an executive order declaring war. And then I'm going to notify Congress. And they go, okay, crazy man. Okay, crazy man. Well, I guess that's what we'll do. And they do it. And it's just like his lawyers. Remember his lawyer filed that crazy lawsuit against the New York Times a couple of weeks ago? And the judge got really pissed and threw it out. It was like an 85-page complaint. And the judge said, the judge was like, it's 85 pages and there's nothing here. There's nothing here. And he said it took until like page 82 for them to even allege anything like defamation. It was just all 82 pages of Trump's complaints about the world. And the judge said, that's not what a legal complaint. It's not for your, it's not for your weird complaints about your client. But the lawyer didn't have a choice because your crazy rich client says, you're going to do it. And you do it, right? So Trump declared war today. I'm going to read you this from the New York Times. President Trump has decided that this is my favorite, that even the way the New York Times writes it is very kind of dismissive. President Trump has decided that the United States is engaged in a formal armed conflict with drug cartels his team has labeled terrorist organizations, and that suspected smugglers for such groups are unlawful combatants, the administration said in a confidential notice to Congress this week. The notice is from the New York Times. The notice was sent to several congressional committees and obtained by the New York Times. It adds new detail to the administration's thinly articulated legal rationale for why 3 U.S. military strikes the president ordered on boats in the Caribbean Sea last month, killing all 17 people aboard them, should be seen as lawful rather than murder. That was a very painful sentence for the New York Times, and I'm a little surprised. Basically, Trump went and blew up 3 boats leaving Venezuela, killed, I think, like 18 people, all civilians, and claimed they were involved in the fentanyl trade. The Times notes later, most of the fentanyl comes from Mexico. It doesn't come from Venezuela. So it's not clear what these boats were doing that was part of the fentanyl trade if there's no fentanyl in Venezuela, right? Trump lied. I'm not going to read you the whole article. The article also cites a military legal expert that says basically what Trump is doing is illegal under international law. You can't intentionally target civilians, right? This is the issue with Israel and stuff, right? You cannot deliberately target civilians. It is a war crime to try to blow up civilians. You can't go to war with civilians. You can't go to war with drug cartels. Literal war, you can't. You go to war, for example, Al-Qaeda. We were able to go to war against Al-Qaeda because they literally attacked us on 9/11. They literally right? They did military maneuvers, military style attacks against us. Shipping drugs into your country and killing people is not, it's bad. It's not a military attack. He's a very bad man. So this is a crime. It's a war crime. The troops involved are committing war crimes. Trump will probably, if he's smart, he may not care. He will pardon the troops doing this. I do think U.S. troops really need to think really hard about this because they're literally committing war crimes. And maybe you'll be pardoned. I don't know what kind of a career you want outside of Republican, MAGA radio, trying to get a job as a war criminal. Even if you were pardoned, you're still pardoned for being a war criminal. That's not somebody I'd hire for a job. Pretty crazy stuff. So the government is still shut down. The Trump shutdown is still in place. As you may know, Republicans did not pass the legislation they needed to pass this year funding our government. Therefore, at the end, they needed Democrats to support them. And the Democrats said, well, if you're coming to us for help, finally, after ignoring us all year, and after Trump, mind you, went and rescinded all the money that Democrats voted for. Bottom line is Democrats agreed with Republicans on the budget over the last year, multiple times, including continuing resolutions, everything else. And what the Democrats agreed to was, right, we want this funded, Republicans, you get this funded, and we vote together to keep the government open, et cetera. Well, guess what the Republicans did? The Republicans basically, all the money they voted for, they kept spending. All the money the Democrats voted for, they started cutting. Remember how Trump did his rescission? Trump got rid of the Department of Education. That's money Democrats voted for as part of the budget deals, right? Trump got rid of foreign aid, $14 billion. That's money Democrats voted for as part of the budget deal. And the Democrats are now saying, well, if you're going to just literally reach some negotiation with us and we're going to vote for it, and then later you're going to say, nah, we're not going to spend the Democratic money, so to speak, the money for programs Democrats care about, then why should we vote for it? So what Democrats said a couple things. They said, one, we want ironclad language in whatever agreement there is that says Trump can't just take the money out. And Republicans said, oh, no, because could you imagine telling dear leader with the orange hair that you're not allowed to just illegally take the money out of the budget? Please, right? That's the first problem. Second problem is Democrats said in Trump's big one beautiful bill bullshit, whatever it was, his tax cut for the rich, Trump cut $1 trillion with a T from Medicaid. Medicaid is a healthcare program for the poor. A lot of those poor are in Republican states. They're Republicans. He cut $1 trillion for that. He also, separately, Republicans have said they're not going to reauthorize certain additional subsidies for the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. That is going to cause a lot of people's premiums to double. My premiums could go up $4,000, probably, I'm thinking, as a result, potentially, which is really annoying that this legislation could cost me $4,000 next year. It's a big deal for people. And the Republicans hate Obamacare. They don't like healthcare. Remember, Trump had always promised he was going to fix healthcare. In 4 years in office, Trump never did anything on healthcare. Healthcare, I believe, is the one that Trump was asked recently. And he said, well, I don't have a plan for healthcare. I've got the concepts of a plan. Guys, he was elected president 8.5 years ago. And he still doesn't know what he wants to do on healthcare. It's like, okay, dude, whatever. Concepts of a plan. So anyway, take this to today. So we're back to the government shutdown. Democrats said, look, if you want our votes, you're going to restore the money for Medicaid. You're going to pass the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act so people's health insurance doesn't double in price. And you're going to guarantee that Trump can't just unilaterally stop spending the money. do all of that, and we'll vote for it. Republicans, because Republicans realized, it's funny, Republicans really want to kill health insurance for Americans, but they don't want to say that. They've realized, sometimes they say it. They haven't anymore because it gets them in trouble. The Obamacare stuff got them in a lot of trouble in 2018. They lost control of the Congress because Trump was trying to kill Obamacare, kill the Affordable Care Act. So Republicans get upset about that. They know the voters don't like it. So they're talking about, basically, they tried to switch the topic from a topic voters like, which is healthcare, which Democrats are trying to fund. They tried to switch it to immigration, a topic voters don't like, right? Voters don't want illegal immigrants here. And the Republicans are claiming, Democrats shut down the government because they wanted to give healthcare to illegal aliens. No, that's banned under U.S. law. And I challenge every single one of you to Google this, because every fact checker on the planet, every media outlet on the planet has looked into it and said that's a lie. Under U.S. law, people who are here illegally are banned from getting federal Medicaid money. They're banned from getting federal Medicare money. They're banned from getting federal ACA Obamacare money. Banned. They don't get it. So what the Republicans are doing is they're lying about what, literally, Google this. The Democratic offer is add the money back to Medicaid that you took. Add the money back to the Affordable Care Act that's going to expire, that you don't care about, that you're refusing to continue, and we'll vote for it. And Republicans can't say, we want to take health insurance away from poor people, including Republicans. Republicans can't say, we don't care if people like me have to pay $4,000 more a year, right? Or other people pay twice the amount a year for their health insurance premiums. Remember, my premiums are already $1,500 a month for my health insurance premiums. It's outrageous in this country what people pay, especially if you're self-employed. So Republicans are just lying and claiming, like I said, that they're trying to, well, actually, they're saying two things. They're trying to fund illegals. Again, it's banned. The other thing they say, have you noticed how they stopped going after trans people? Their argument a week ago was Democrats want to do something with transgender people, and that's why they're shutting down the government. That argument didn't seem to go anywhere. They're not talking about it anymore. They were talking about it. They're not talking about it anymore, which is interesting. In any case, interestingly, Democrats are saying, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, for example, House of Representatives, says, I want to negotiate. Let's sit down and negotiate. No one's sat down. Since Trump met them on Monday, no one has been willing to negotiate. No one. Trump, the Republicans in the House, the Republicans in the Senate, no one is even negotiating with the Democrats about this. Hakeem Jeffries today said, the House Democratic leader said, I will sit down and negotiate. Let's talk. No. The Speaker of the House, the Republican Mike Johnson, said, no, we're not going to negotiate. You can either agree to the Republican proposal or we're going to keep the government shut down. I'm glad he said it, because that's the kind of thing that Americans won't like, right? That's the kind of thing Americans won't like, is to literally, I'm going to pull this up for you from the article, actually. Johnson, in a press conference Thursday morning, had argued there was nothing to negotiate. He implored Democratic senators to simply accept the Republicans' measure for a 7-week extension of current spending. Again, really? There's nothing to negotiate. You can accept our deal or the government stays shut down. Again, thank you, Dave. I'm not convinced that's going to go over too well. I'm glad he's doing it. I'm very glad he's doing it. Any case, more news. Keep the gifts coming, by the way. Thank you. I forgot to pitch the gifts, but I always pitch you on the guys, the gifts. The gifts help me do my work, so I appreciate it. TikTok, YouTube, Discord, everybody. Keep them coming. Subscriptions too. Subscriptions just got more expensive on TikTok. Not my fault. But super fans, they're called now. But if you can do that too, it's is it a dollar sign maybe? No, it's a star. It's a star on the page, maybe at the bottom. But they're not cheap, but they do support my work. So if you can do that, I would appreciate it. Or maybe even give some 1-month subscriptions for everybody else. Yep. 50, actually it's 1,500 a month, Rombo. It's not 1,000 a month. 1,500 is my health insurance premiums. And next year it'll probably go up 10 or 15% again. So it'll go up another $150 next year. It's horrible. It's horrible in this country. Trump again threatened today that he is going to cut Democrats' favorite projects and fire thousands of federal employees as revenge for the shutdown, which made me kind of wonder, Maybe this is what Trump wants, right? I mean, Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. If Trump is using the shutdown to fire thousands of federal employees, if Trump is using the shutdown to end even more federal programs, that's what Trump's been doing since he got into office. He's been decimating the federal government. He's been decimating federal programs we all rely on. It kind of sounds like Trump wanted the shutdown, right? It's hard for Trump to say, I didn't want the shutdown, but now that I've got it, I'm going to use it to do all the things I've been wanting to do and have been doing since I got into office 8 months ago. I mean, that sounds like, for this, it not just sounds like, he had a clear incentive to want the shutdown. He had a clear motive for the shutdown because he's literally using it to do all the stuff that he is the top of his Project 2025 wish list. So that I thought was interesting. The White House continues to show meme videos mocking Democrats. They're playing at the White House on TVs in the White House because Trump, who's a narcissistic child, in addition to a fascist, thinks it's funny to have TVs up showing memes mocking Democrats. Again, guys, our government is shut down. Whose fault do you think it is if the president is refusing? By the way, he refused to negotiate with Democrats at all. Remember, the reason we had the shutdown, Trump waited until the last hour and then said, okay, I'll let Democrats come to the White House. He wouldn't negotiate at all. He has them come to the White House. After the meeting, he puts out a racist video mocking the Democrats, in particular mocking the black Democratic leader in the House and another black female Democratic congresswoman, and does a really racist video attacking them, or a couple of different videos. That's not what you do if you're negotiating with somebody, right? You don't put out videos mocking them. You don't refuse to negotiate. That's the last negotiation they had was Monday. Democrats keep saying, let's keep talking. Trump is saying, no, we're not going to talk anymore. We're just going to leave the government shut. Again, that sounds like Donald Trump is to blame for the shutdown if Democrats want to negotiate and Trump doesn't. New poll. This is interesting. This is actually very disturbing for the U.S. economy. As you know, we're worried about the economy. We're worried about a recession. We're also worried. Thank you, Marcia. We're worried about a recession. We're also worried about inflation, both happening at the same time. Unemployment going up, inflation going up. New economic surveys of public opinions on the economy are bad. Let me tell you what they are. No, let me tell you first why they matter. It matters what the public thinks about the economy because consumer spending is 2/3 of our economy. 2/3 of our economy. Thank you, Julie. 2/3 of our economy is based on money you and I spend as consumers, shopping, etc. So when we start to, first of all, get hurt, prices go up, we lose our jobs, we lose raises, or we start to worry about where the economy is going, we start cutting back our spending. When we cut back our spending, if our spending is 2/3 of the American economy and we as consumers start cutting back our spending, right, that is an incredible danger to the economy to going into a recession. Listen to this. New poll by CBS News and YouGov, both very credible polling. The percent saying the U.S. economy is getting worse. In July, 54% said the U.S. economy was getting worse. In September, 56% said it was getting worse. Now, October, 59% say it's getting worse. This one's even worse. U.S. job market, so jobs in the U.S., unemployment. Good. 41% in April, 33% now say the job market is good. Bad. The U.S. job market is bad. 44% in April, 52% now, and not sure has stayed the same. Those numbers tend to mean people start cutting back. People start cutting back. They start spending less money. People start spending less money. And as I said, it starts to affect the economy. Very interesting stuff. What else we got? Trump is considering providing $10 billion or more in aid to U.S. farmers as the agricultural sector warns of economic fallout from his tariffs. So Trump's tariffs have screwed America's farmers. Surprise! Trump really screwed this one up. So he puts massive tariffs on all the goods coming into America. As I said, those are taxes on American. Well, China retaliates and goes, screw you. We're not going to buy American farm products. China, big purchaser. Thank you, Julie. China, big purchaser of soybeans from American farmers. Soybeans, huge export of American farmers. So the Chinese, thank you, May. The Chinese say, we're going to stop buying your soybeans. Oh, hello. I love that one. Thank you, Carrie. That's such a weird, scary little fox. Kind of looks like a devil, though, doesn't it? They call it a fox. I'm convinced it's a fox, but it's kind of a devil fox. Thank you for that, Carrie. I appreciate it. Oh, and King Tut, too. Sorry, we're getting very cool gifts on TikTok. Hello, or very cool gifts. Thank you, guys. The farmers. So Trump puts massive tariffs on China. China says, screw you, we're not going to buy your soybeans anymore, which is a huge export for American farmers. Well, the American farmers are now kind of screwed. They need help. Trump is talking about giving them money, and the farmers are like, well, we don't need bailouts. We need people to buy our stuff, right? Well, it gets better than that. Trump, and we know, the story I'm going to tell you right now, we know, because it comes from Trump's agriculture secretary who screwed up. Well, she didn't really screw up. She texted a message to his Treasury secretary. And the Treasury secretary is reading his phone in public without a screen on the phone. So there's an Associated Press reporter behind him taking pictures of his phone. So they get a picture of his phone. Trump's agriculture secretary says basically, oh boy, we screwed up by putting those tariffs on China. The Chinese stopped buying our soybeans. And guess what happened next? And he's texting what? She goes, Trump's agriculture secretary. She goes, the Chinese stopped buying our soybeans. We turn around last week, for example, and the Argentine government comes to us and says, oh, we need $20 billion, important right now. Our election's coming up, and if we don't have the $20 billion, it might hurt our chance to get reelected. We're big Trump fans. So Trump gives them $20 billion. What does the Argentine government do to thank us after Trump gives them $20 billion? Literally right after. The Argentine government calls the Chinese last week and go, hey, we know you're not buying the American soybeans. How would you like to buy our soybeans? We're going to lower our tariffs because they had export tariffs. They would put, because they wanted to keep the soybeans domestically. They lowered the price of they lowered the tariffs, the tax on the soybeans, and they lowered the price of the soybeans to get the Chinese to buy them. And the Chinese started buying it. Well, that did a few things. One, it stole our customer. There's no reason for the Chinese to go back to the Americans. B, because Argentina is now selling soybeans at a lower price, Americans have to sell their soybeans at a lower price. So it also undercut the money our farmers were making because now the price of soybeans went down because of the Argentines. They did this right after Trump bailed them out. How's that for... Now, I love Argentina. I've lived in Argentina. I've worked in Argentina, but this is really dicky. And Trump basically did it. I mean, Trump did it with his tariffs. He screwed the farmers over. And then he decided to, like I said, his little friends, sorry, I'm trying to get my phone open so I can adjust the temperature again. He decided to bail out his friends, the Argentines, because he wanted to get their guy reelected. And what do you know? Anyway, it's classic Trump. I mean, it's just such classic Trump. Okay, this is a fascinating story. I'm not sure if TikTok wants me to say the word, so I'm going to say this without using the word. Where are my other glasses? I was trying to find my other glasses that were here. I had two pairs of glasses. I'm guessing they're in the other room, maybe. Okay, I'll live. So I had another pair of glasses that I like. My black glasses I had out here. I can't find them now. Keep the gifts coming on TikTok, guys. Discord too, YouTube. So Trump's listen to this. Trump's Food and Drug Administration, FDA, this week, mind you, this is under Robert Kennedy, the crazy guy, okay? This week approved a generic version of the anti-pregnancy pill, we'll call it. I don't want to use the A word, AB, because I think TikTok may not like that, but mifepristone, I'm not going to say it correctly. It's the pill you take after you get pregnant, right? Expanding the supply of the medication at a time when the Trump administration is under pressure from pro-life advocates to sharply restrict access to these pills. The approval issued on Tuesday means that 3 American companies can now produce the pill for ending your pregnancy. The FDA approved. Anyway, Donald Trump, I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's Plan B or what it is, but it's one of them. Donald Trump's FDA made was that correct? Thanks, Amanda. Made a generic version issued publicly of a pill to end pregnancy. I mean, I wasn't sure if it's morning after or which one it is. Are you sure? I'm kind of blown away on that one. That's great. I'm going to be very surprised if this stays, if this sticks. Going to be very surprised if the Republican base doesn't go crazy on him. Yeah, it's not morning after. I didn't think it was morning after. Also, the article would have said morning after if it was. Right. Anyway, very interesting on that front. So Biden could get the Nobel Prize instead of Trump. Very funny. So Secretary Blinken, Joe Biden's Secretary of State, came out today and said, that peace proposal that Donald Trump reached with the Republican, or with Netanyahu of Israel, it was actually our peace proposal. It was the Biden peace proposal. The Biden people created a peace proposal. They left it for the Trump people and literally told them, hey, we think this is a viable proposal. If you can, you might want to use it and see if you can use it. Well, the Trump people finally used it. They changed a few things, but it's pretty much the Joe Biden proposal that Trump is now using. Oh, hello. Thank you, Big Hawk, for the Rosie. Appreciate that. It's pretty much the Biden proposal. So I was saying today, wouldn't it be funny if Joe Biden got the Nobel Peace Prize because it was the Biden proposal? Now, Trump still thinks he's getting the Nobel Peace Prize. Trump is never getting the Nobel Peace Prize. He declared war today, guys. People who declare war do not get the Nobel Peace Prize. They just don't. You really don't. Anyway, you all know this, but it kind of makes me laugh how weird he gets. The Epstein statue is back. This was kind of exciting. Remember, actually, I'll show you the picture. That statue in Washington, D.C. that anonymous people put up last week. Let me pull this up. Statue was put up last week, and the Trump people got upset about it and took it down. So this is the statue. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit here. One sec here. It's a little better. 1 minute. Shadow. That's a little better. Okay, that's better. So this is the statue. It shows Trump and Epstein hand in hand. It's right, of course, as you can see by the U.S. Capitol. It's right in the middle of the mall where all the tourists go. I'll show you guys. It's right in the middle of the mall where all the tourists go. It's actually really well done. I mean, it's a huge statue. It's really pretty cool. And last time it went up a week ago, I had a permit, and the Trump people took it down overnight and broke the law doing it, of course. Big surprise. Took it down overnight, broke it, which they're not allowed to do, etc. And they tried to get a new permit. The Park Service said no. They said it was the number 2 in the Park Service who said no, which was very interesting. And so the Trump people say no. And hold on, remembering now, I've got to pull this out for tomorrow. I have to study my Greek for tomorrow. My class is on Saturday. I was like, oh shit, we're starting a new lesson, which is not always easy. Anyway, they got a new permit. Obviously, it's up. Knowing Trump, there's no way he's going to leave it up. There's no way he's going to leave it up. He's going to make them take it down again tonight. Even if it's illegal, he's going to make them take it down again tonight. But anyway, it made me laugh. I thought it was very funny. A little more here. Big story out of England today. A man attacked a synagogue in Manchester, England, killing 2 people, seriously injured 3 others in an act of terrorism on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the year. The police said that the officer shot and killed the man only minutes after he began his assault, using first a car and then a knife. He was identified hours later by Britain's counterterrorism police as Jihad al-Shami, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent. And I'm sorry, but this is outright bigotry and terrorism, because here's the problem. You don't like Israel? Okay. You don't go and attack Jews. Okay. I mean, you don't do that. You don't attack all Arabs because the Palestinians have a history of terrorism. And by the way, you don't attack all Palestinians because their leadership has a history of terrorism. That's not the way it works. And particularly Israel. No, you don't get to kill Jews worldwide because you disagree with Israel. And by the way, this is what I always talk about. These kind of attacks against Jews have been happening, well, for more than, I was going to say 100 years, more than 100 years. But in the last 100 years, all the time. A lot of folks didn't get to witness it because over the last 20 years, we've been watching how bad Israel has been to the Palestinians. The 60 to 80 years before that has been Palestinians slaughtering Jews worldwide, not just Israelis, Jews. This is a very complicated crisis, and it's one, and I always compare it, the Americans will know what I mean, foreigners won't, the Hatfields and the McCoys, where you kill me, I kill you, you kill me, I kill you, back and back and back and back and back and back and back. And everybody's got 10 different stories of the family member who was killed or whatever, and justifying why they're allowed to now do bad things back. And both sides have got 10 different stories and 10 different justifications. This is only going to make things worse. This is only going to embolden the bad side of the Israelis, the Netanyahu sides. This is just not helpful stuff. Actually, kind of like the Charlie Kirk stuff, to be honest, right? That kind of stuff only emboldens the Trumps of the world. And it did embolden the Donald Trumps of the world. It emboldened the worst elements of the Republican Party to become more fascist. And they successfully did. Thank you, Tarad. Not a good thing. Putin, this is interesting. Putin called for the restoration of full relations with the U.S. today. He said, but if Trump gives Tomahawk cruise missiles to Ukraine, it's going to set things back very, very difficult. Very difficult. Yeah. Putin's scared of the Tomahawk cruise missiles. Putin is scared of the Tomahawk cruise missiles. It's causing him to cave to Trump. Now, Donald Trump is still desperate to have good relations with Putin. Trump would be happy to throw Ukraine out the window for good relations with Putin. But it is interesting. It is interesting that basically Trump's threats to help Ukraine have gotten Putin's attention. But again, I still think it means he's going to trade away Ukraine. Kyiv Independent. Okay, this is very funny. Kyiv Independent. Poland sees no need to rush the possible extradition of a Ukrainian citizen suspected of involvement in the Nord Stream gas pipeline sabotage. So remember how the Russian pipeline to Europe via Germany got blown up, several years ago, right after the beginning of the war, and we didn't know who did it. Looks like it might have been some Ukrainians who did it. Who knows who authorized them? One of the Ukrainians was arrested. He's in Poland. And the Poles are now saying, multiple Poland officials are saying, well, the Germans want to extradite him, but it's complicated. We've got to go through the courts. And even when we go through the courts, there's a political opponent, or not political, there's a political component to this. Our friends, the Ukrainians, won't like it, and it's going to affect our international relations. We've got to take all of that into account. What Poland is doing, Poland is saying, hey, a-hole, you just sent 19 drones into our country 2 weeks ago and then basically bragged about it and lied about it. And now you're doing it to the rest of NATO? You're nuts if you think we're going to do you a favor by sending the guy who blew up your pipeline to be tried. Basically saying that ain't going to happen. That was pretty damn good of the Poles. I will give them that. Final story, Russia is a dictatorship watch via Sky News. Listen to this. The deputy leader of Russia's Liberal Party, which opposes the war in Ukraine, has been charged with spreading lies about the... Listen what the charge... This is pure Donald Trump. Listen to what these charges are. Has been charged with spreading lies about the Russian army. Maxim Kruglov says he's not guilty of the charge, which can carry a jail term of up to 10 years. He was charged over the content of 2 social media posts made in 2022. One of the social media posts in question that could get him 10 years in prison, he called for a ceasefire in the war with Ukraine. That's it. He called for a ceasefire. And the Russians want to put him in prison for 10 years. That is Russia. That could be America. Donald Trump certainly is trying to make that America, but that's Russia. Now, it is America too, actually, because the Border Patrol people tried to arrest that guy on the bike because he literally said, F Donald Trump. You can't arrest somebody for that. And then he said, I'm not an American citizen. You can't arrest somebody for that either. I'm not an American citizen does not mean you're here illegally. Literally, they were going to detain him and arrest him for speech, political speech. That's exactly the same thing the Russians do and the Chinese do. Very bad. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, at least we're going to hang out now. At least we finished at a decent time. As I said, I've got to finish at 7 o'clock, but that gives us another 15 minutes easily. So I will sit back comfortably right now. I've got to do my Greek tomorrow. God. And I've got an appointment with somebody tomorrow, a meeting. I'm like, busy day. Arizona Congresswoman, do we use verbs, WC, or not? Unless you're not talking to me. Anyway. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, Zerpachi. So your comment is vague as well. So no idea what you're talking about. What else? What else? What else? This is the part we hang out. I've gone through the news that matters. Now we hang out. So questions, comments, blah, blah, blah. Situation in the Balkans? No idea. Oh, that's interesting. You work in the private sector. A lot of the government people were still there today. That's interesting. That's interesting. No, my Greek class is Saturday, though. It's just the dialogues are always very difficult. So how long does it take to get a green card with a visa? I don't know. Actually, I do know. Green card could take a year and a half, 2 years or longer, depending where you live. I do know that because my nephew's wife has been trying to get one. That's right. No job report tomorrow. There's supposed to be a job report tomorrow. Trump's not going to release it because the government shut down. They've got the job report. They're not going to release it. Yeah, Virginia elections and New Jersey elections, governor races, very important. Governor races in New Jersey and Virginia. Those races will be in early November. The elections, very important because Democrats have been doing very well in those elections. And typically the winner of those two elections, which currently looks like Democrats, win Congress the next year. So should be very interesting. So that'd be a good thing. Lots of embassy stuff. That's interesting. They shouldn't be. Yes, you should be glad you're not a U.S. citizen. I would agree. Again, I look at this stuff and I'm like, I cannot believe people. Oh, all right, WC. Not sure. I'm not. I don't really understand why foreigners would come to this country. You know? Yeah, I read about it, Guza. I'm just not sure how to talk about it. The European. Do follow me, guys. I always forget about that. Follow me on TikTok, YouTube as well. Totally always forget to ask people to do that. Also, keep the gifts coming, please, because you know they help support my work and I appreciate it. Hold on. Do you audit college courses? I'd love to get into the Greek study group. I'm taking a Greek class via my local church. And there's basically just either the church itself does it or there's instructors who do stuff via the church. So I would say check that as far as a way of starting Greek. I'm not starting, I'm intermediate, but I would do that. Now, mind you, it's modern Greek. It's not ancient, but I would look at that. Now, it's not cheap though. It's not free. You know, like I'm paying $400 for a semester. So it's not going to be free, but I would check your local Greek church first. That to me, that would be the obvious place. The drone wall, the drone wall, I was reading up on it. It's confusing. Europe, Eastern Europe wants to create kind of a drone wall to protect Europe from the Russian invasion of drones. And a number of the countries that are not on the border with Russia, including France, are kind of going, even Denmark, I think, was being a little, like they're not sure they want to spend the money defending the countries in the East if it doesn't help them directly. So this drone wall idea is kind of a little in getting bogged down as of today. It was a little more confusing. I mean, I read through the articles. I didn't mention it because it was kind of like it's now looking not dead in the water, but a little So I didn't really mention it just because, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I know. Good question. Pixels, is there any way to force Mike Johnson to do his job and swear in the new member of Congress? So this is really offensive too. A woman won a special election last week in, help me out. I'm totally spacing out. Help me out, guys. It wasn't Arizona, was it? Where was it? I'm totally spacing out. Democrat wins the election. It was a Democratic region, but she still won a lot. And she's now the new member of Congress from there. It was an important seat for Democrats. It was Arizona. Okay, thank you. I thought it was, Ben. Wasn't sure. Arizona. She wins the seat. Important because Republicans only control the House by a couple seats, House of Representatives. So this was important for Democrats because her vote could force Trump to have to release the Epstein files. Republican Speaker Mike Johnson is refusing to seat her. He's just dragging it out and not seating her. Again, this is the way they undermine and undercut our democracy. It's kind of amazing, but it's what they do, unfortunately, So it's like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, it's very obnoxious and very annoying. So anyway, is that her name? Adelita Grijalva? Okay. That's her name. Yep. Anyway. Oh, man. Oh, I thought that's who it was. The second you said Grijalva, I'm thinking that's a Democratic member of Congress. He's the guy who died. Okay, that's who it is. Yeah, no, it's funny. I saw that name and I'm like, I know who this person is. I totally know who this person is. Yeah, I know who she is. I don't know anything about her though. Sorry, people are talking about LaMonica McIver. I recognize her, but don't know anything about her. So I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Somebody said, talk about her. What? Don't know what's going on. Well, Jamie, I think they do. Jamie said, can you talk about how the statue of Trump and Epstein got put back up without a permit? I think they got the permit. Yeah. As Ashley just said, I think they got the permit. Now they could just put the permit up without, or the statue without a permit, and it'll get taken down immediately. The problem is we are a nascent authoritarian state. Donald Trump is going to order them to take the statue down, and they're going to do it. They're not going to tell him, well, we can't do it. He'll call some MAGA people and get them to do it, with the long knives. So let's see how long it stays up. It's brilliant. I was going to go down. I was supposed to have coffee with a friend at 3:30. I saw it at 3:00 and I was like, shit, I would have taken an Uber down there. And then the coffee got delayed. So I was like, fuck. But too bad, because I wanted to go down and see it before it gets taken down. It's beaten up from being torn down last time. It is a statue somebody put up last week that the Trump people ordered down, and it's back up now of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and they put it on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., where all the tourists go. That's the Congress in the background. It's in the middle of the tourist zone on the mall. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. It's really, very well done. It's also very well done, Well, the scars of war are even more epic, Lutnick was crazy. Lutnick, is he Commerce Secretary? He's the guy that talks a little bit like New York Mafia. And he's always saying bad things. Real jerk, real MAGA, real jerk. Well, he does an interview talking about Epstein and totally contradicts like Trump and the Justice Department. He's talking about how, I don't have it in front of me now. Oh, Epstein, he was terrible. First of all, you don't do Epstein's about you don't do interviews when you're a Trump cabinet official about Epstein and what a horrible human being he is, because it makes the story news again. And everyone goes, if he's a horrible human being, why is Donald Trump friends with him? Or this kind of crap. So he does the interview. Oh, he was a horrible human being. I went to his house once. He was my neighbor with my wife, and he shows us around, and he shows us the massage room. And I said, why do you have a massage room? And he says, well, because I get a massage every day, and it's the right kind of massage. He goes, and my wife and I looked at each other and went, ew. And we got out of there, and we never visited him again because we knew what kind of man he was. So he's making it news. And then he goes, wait, what was the other part? He goes, oh, and you know what he would do with the massages? He would blackmail people. He would film it and blackmail people. And he got lots of things. He got charges dropped against him, all because he had like video and stuff, and he would blackmail everybody. Well, you're listening to this. And of course, in your mind, you're going, was Trump blackmailed, right? In your mind, you're going, well, first of all, Epstein got a much lighter sentence. Then Trump has been basically doing everything he can to hide the Epstein evidence. He's doing everything he can to help Epstein's accomplice. He lowered her prison. He put her in a much nicer prison, like all sorts of crap. And his cabinet official is saying, well, Epstein used to, would blackmail people and get videos of them. I mean, and by the way, Trump's Justice Department lied about that as well. The Justice Department lied and said, well, there's no evidence of Epstein blackmailing anybody. They had to say that. Why? Because the rumors were going around, did Epstein blackmail Trump? So that's what they said, right? No, right? Oh, he didn't blackmail anybody. And his own cabinet secretary goes, oh, he used to blackmail everybody. I've got to see if I can Google it and pull it up. He's insane. He's insane to even talk about it. I mean, absolutely insane to talk about it. 1 second here. Oops. Lutnick made me laugh so hard. Oop, I've got Litmick, not Litmick. Lutnick. Here we go. News. Here we go. U.S. Commerce Secretary, ABC News. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, breaking with the FBI and the Department of Justice, says he believes high-profile associates of Jeffrey Epstein participated in his behavior and that Epstein may have blackmailed them with incriminating videos. Asked by the New York Post whether high-profile associates of Epstein knew of his behavior and just ignored it, Lutnick said he believes, no, they participated. They participated. That's what his MO was. Get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer. Lutnick, Epstein's former neighbor, said he believes Epstein may have traded alleged blackmail videos for a lesser prison sentence. He says more about it. The allegations stand in contrast with what FBI Director Kash Patel told Congress during testimony last month. Asked by Senator John Kennedy, Republican, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic young women to? Okay, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic young women to besides himself? Patel replied, himself. There is no credible information, none, that Epstein did anything with any of his friends, I guess. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. Brain Edwards, a victim's rights lawyer. Anyway, so yes. For some reason, the Trump people, Kash Patel felt it very important to say, oh no, Epstein only did it for himself. He never did anything with anybody else. He never got massages for any of his friends. No. Yeah. Oh, hey, Asatola. Good to see you. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. So I thought that was kind of wild. He's in trouble. I mean, he's going to definitely be in trouble. It's like, haha. Oh, well. What do you do? Anyway. All right. We got about 4 more minutes, then I'm going to call it off. Call it quits. What else? That's a Kabul. Anyway, what else, guys? What else? Right, Zerpachi, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, so it's not helpful. I don't know what you're talking about. I read you a summary of a newspaper article's first 2 lines. So I don't know what you're talking about. It's not, your feedback is not helpful. If you've got something, send me a note and say, oh, this was wrong. Don't give me I'm sorry, but this is the part where I get annoyed with people. Don't tell me generically, something was wrong. I'm not going to tell you what, but something was wrong and you need to research and correct it, but I'm not going to tell you what it was. That isn't helpful. If something was wrong, message me. Yeah, message me and tell me what was wrong. And then I'll tell people the next day. That I can do. That's fine. Yeah, no, I just like people to give me the information because then I can use it. Oh, that's wild. Search operation has been launched in Finnmark County in northern Norway after 10 soldiers didn't return to camp this morning. Yikes. Hey, Wandering Chill. Thank you for the gift. Appreciate that on YouTube. 5 were found. Okay, that's alive, I'm hoping. Okay, that's good. Do I think we're ever going to see these files? No. Look, or Trump is going to release the pages of the files that have Democrats in them. That's it. Or at this point, you know, again, somebody needs to do like a longer document of this. Everything they say is a confession. Everything they say in psychology is called projection. Everything Trump says and most of the Republican leadership is projection. When they accuse Democrats of something, right? For years, Democrats are using the government to go after their political opponents. No, what they meant was their plan was to use the government to go after political opponents. That's what they meant, right? Obama was the most divisive president in history. No, what they meant was when they get into power, they're going to be the most divisive people in history, right? That's what they meant. Trump last year called Joe Biden a fascist repeatedly. What did that mean? I'm going to be a fascist. I mean, this is what they do on everything. This is what they do on everything. Now Bad Bunny. That's fascinating, Marianne. I did not know who Bad Bunny was. He's cute. I have to listen. I mean, I love Latin music. I need to look him up now. But he's a super famous Puerto Rican singer, like super crazy. They were comparing him to Beyonce and somebody else. I mean, he's huge. And he's doing a residency in Puerto Rico where his just being there, him being there and doing concerts there has brought $400 million to Puerto Rico. I mean, this guy's a big deal. Well, he recently refused to do concerts. Puerto Rico is part of America. It's an American territory. They're Americans. He recently refused to do concerts on the American mainland because ICE was basically going to concerts and, carding people for citizenship and arresting them. And he said, I'm not going to like hold concerts on the mainland so that the ICE people can try to arrest, Latinos. The Super Bowl asked him to do the halftime show and he said, yes, he's going to go. He said, this is different. Well, firstly, he said, you don't get a lot of like people from the neighborhood going to the Super Bowl, right? It's a different thing. Second of all, the opportunity. He's going to go and he's going to do something political. The Republicans are apoplectic. The Republicans are, and of course, the thing is, I actually was going to do a video on this for TikTok. The Republicans are calling him he hates America. Why is that? Because again, this is what they do. Again, like the Charlie Kirk stuff, right? Everything they said about us after Charlie Kirk was a confession. Democrats hate America. Sure. They have a problem because he's Puerto Rican. They have a problem with him because he's Latino. They have a problem with him because he has a problem with Donald Trump's racism. I do think it's interesting that the Super Bowl picked him. It's going to be interesting. He's huge. He's absolutely huge. So it's going to be a big deal. But he's going to do something during the halftime. He will. And Republicans are livid. It's like, oh, well. Also, I got to tell you, like, they're not wrong. Who's gonna boycott the Super Bowl? I mean, I don't care about sports, but if you care about sports, you're not going to watch the Super Bowl, which is the biggest game of the year. Because I know, thanks, Ash. Because I'm upset that you're having a Latino singer on. Really? So yeah, little weird. Yeah, I'm not moving to Greece anytime soon, rat lady. So don't worry. Got to get my citizenship first. But yeah, like no one's giving up. No one who's a sports fan is giving up the Super Bowl because there's a Latino singer and, so yeah. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to go. It's 7:00. I need to get going, but, thanks for joining. Today's Thursday. We're back tomorrow, Friday night, 6:00 Eastern time, US. And then Sunday morning too, actually. Saturday morning is the paid monthly subscribers. All of you, special show, 11 a.m. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. for the paid monthly subscribers, the VIP ones, the ones who spend like $24.99 a month, $24.99. That's a very small group. TikTok doesn't allow us to do such categories, but Discord and YouTube do. It's a very small group. It's like Jens and Arctic and some of the rest. Flower Lady, I think it might be a couple of you guys. It's a small group, but we hang out anyway. If you're there, I'll be there. If you're not there, I'll go away. But it's Saturday and Sunday. Ash, exactly. Well, I know Ash and the mods are there, of course. But yeah, join us. Yeah, I need to check out Youngblood. I don't know Youngblood, but I do need to check out Bad Bunny's music. From what I heard, I liked it, and I love Latino music anyway. But all right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Thank you very much. Discord, I'm gonna start with you guys first. Jeffrey and JTA, see you guys. Hang on here. What am I doing? Oops, there we go. All right, bye guys. YouTube, you're next, then TikTok. Okay, YouTube, bye YouTube. See you guys. All right, and then TikTok.